which I've sent, say that this is the latest link, and we have started. Okay, so that people who are waiting possibly can see it. तो उस आत्मा को इस प्रकार से जानना कि वो निर्विकार है, निराकार है, निर्मल है, अविनाशी है, दुखहीन है, आभासहीन है, विकल्पहीन है, व्यापक मीन्स ऑल परवेजिव है, विकल्पहीन मतलब विदाउट एनी सब्स्टिट्यूट है. इस प्रकार से जानना जो है, इसको बुद्धजन जो है उसको ज्ञान कहते हैं. वो निष्क्रिय है, निर्गुण है. ये हमने सब तरह के एट्रीब्यूट्स पढ़े कि वो बिना गुण के, बिना, वो नित्य है, इट इज ऑलवेज देयर, शुद्ध, अनंत, निश्चल, निर्मल. इस प्रकार से सब तरह से वो गुण रहित है और वो एक है. उसके बाद में उन्होंने कहा कि इसके अंदर जो ज्ञान का उपदेश है वो किस प्रकार का होता है, कि व्हाट इज द सर्मन, व्हाट इज द वे बाय विच वी हैव टू मेक अस आवरसेल्व्स अंडरस्टैंड इट. अब हम लोग कहते हैं कि हो सकता है वो शून्य हो, तो ये कहते हैं कि शरीर में पुरुष नामक सुंदर देहातीत और शास्त्र सम्मत आत्मा के रहते हुए भी तू उसे शून्य क्यों करता है. जब वो रहता है तो उसको शून्य क्यों करता है. वो इतना सुंदर है, इतना व्यापक है, इतना निर्मल है, तो उसको क्यों करता है शून्य, जो बड़ी कठिनता से प्राप्त किया जा सकता है. तो इसमें स्पष्ट कह दिया कि यहाँ पर ये कठिनता से दिखाई पड़ सकता है. उसको यदि तुम श्रुति और युक्ति पूर्वक श्रवण करो तो. फिर उन्होंने कहा कि ये एक प्रकार से पर आत्मा जो है स्थित है शरीर के अंदर और स्थूल नहीं है, तो उसको तुम एक नहीं मान सकते, तो उसको तुम देह कैसे कह सकते हो. श्लोक नंबर 31. और जो ये अहम है, ये जो वास्तव में आत्मा है, वह दृष्टा रूप से सिद्ध है, दृष्टा रूप से वो प्रेजेंट है, और उसको हम कहते हैं जैसे कि ये मेरा शरीर है. तो ये मेरा शरीर कौन बोल रहा है, वो आत्मा कह रहा है. ये नहीं कहते कि ये शरीर मैं हूँ, ये शरीर मैं नहीं हूँ, ये शरीर मेरा है. तो कोई चीज ऐसी है जो कह रही है कि ये मेरा है. ठीक है, ये शरीर मैं नहीं हूँ, ये मेरा है. इस प्रकार से 32 में इन्होंने समझाया. ये जो शरीर है दृश्य रूप से स्थित है, फिर ये देह जो है आत्मा पुरुष कैसे हो सकता है. हमने यहाँ तक पढ़ा 32 श्लोक तक. कोई प्रश्न है तो पूछिए, नहीं तो फिर आगे पढ़ते हैं.
Till now, he has not mentioned ईश्वर anywhere. अभी तक तो ब्रह्म और मैं और ईश्वर एक ये इम्प्लाई हो रहा है.
हाँ, सब जगह शुरू में भगवान को संबोधित करते हुए आदि शंकराचार्य ने कहा, उन परमानंद स्वरूप उपदेष्टा ईश्वर व्यापक और समस्त लोकों के कारण श्री हरि को मैं नमस्कार करता हूँ. Okay, that is the opening statement. So he is first dedicating all that which he is talking about to that Ishwar. Okay, and then it is said in shloka number 16 that I am that Avinashi Sat, जो ईश्वर ही, ईश्वर शब्द नहीं है शायद, तो वो ईश्वर ही है, कहने के लिए वही है. ठीक है. ठीक है. Any other question? So we'll read shloka number 33. Can we read that in English? Anyone? पढ़िए, आप पढ़िए, कोई भी पढ़िए, अंजू जी आप पढ़िए, अंजना पढ़िए, you can read, anybody can read, please. 33 in English.
It is a fact of direct experience that I, Atman, is without any change, whereas the body is always undergoing changes. So, how can this body be Purush?
Please go on.
The I, Atman, is without any change in happiness or misery, in childhood, youth, or old age. Atman, in spite of many changes in the body, remains the same. Else, how do we recognize a person to be the same man again and again, even though his body and mind have undergone a thorough change?
In Hindi it is अहम विकार रहित है, जो वह आत्मा है वो विकार रहित है, नॉन चेंजिंग, इम्यूटेबल है, और देह सर्वदा विकारवान है, कॉन्स्टेंटली चेंजिंग है। ये स्पष्ट प्रतीत होता है, फिर ये देह पुरुष कैसे हो सकता है? पुरुष इज आत्मा, अल्टीमेट बीइंग। We can read 34th.
Wise men have ascertained the real nature of Purush from that Shruti text. There is nothing higher than he, Purush, etc. So, how can this body be Purush? There is nothing higher, subtler, or greater than this Purush, who stands in the luminous sphere, supremely unique and immovable like a tree, and by whom all this creation is filled.
चतुर मनुष्यों ने, Chatur is those who are wise, who have read the 4 ग्रंथ, 4 वेद जिसने पढ़े चतुर हो गया। मनुष्यों ने पुरुष का लक्षण यस्मात् परम का अर्थ है सर्वोपरि, बियॉन्ड एवरीथिंग, इत्यादि श्रुति से निश्चित किया है, फिर ये देह पुरुष कैसे हो सकता है? इसकी व्याख्या नीचे करी है यस्मात् परम की, जिससे पर या अपर, सो विच इज बियॉन्ड या नियर, तथा अणु या दीर्घ, स्मॉल और वेरी लार्ज, कुछ भी नहीं है। नथिंग कैन बी स्मॉलर देन दैट एंड नथिंग कैन बी बिगर देन दैट। और जो एक ही दिव्य धाम में वृक्ष के समान निष्कंप भाव से स्थित है। निष्कंप इज विदाउट एनी वाइब्रेशन, कंपना इज वाइब्रेशन। उस पुरुष से ही यह संपूर्ण विश्व व्याप्त है। Is that clear? We'll read 35th, 36th, sorry. 35th.
Again, the Shruti has declared in the Purush Sukta that all this is verily the Purush. So, how can this body be Purush? The Purush Sukta forms a part of the Rig Veda. There we find one of the highest conceptions of the cosmic being wherefrom this universe has emanated. The text here referred to is this: the Purush is verily all this manifested world. He is all that was in the past and that will be in the future. He is the Lord of the abode of bliss and has taken this transient form of the manifested universe so that the jivas may undergo the effects of their actions.
So the effects of the actions is basically doing your karma and getting the fruits of those karmas. That is what this Jagat has been created for. This has been quoted from Rig Veda. And we read this in Hindi now, which is, जबकि श्रुति ने पुरुष सूक्त में भी ये कहा है कि सब कुछ पुरुष ही है, तो फिर यह देह पुरुष कैसे हो सकता है? तो ये सब पुरुष ही है. किस प्रकार से पुरुष है? इस यूनिवर्स में मैनिफेस्टेड जगत को किस प्रकार से हम कह रहे हैं कि ये it is Purush alone. Even in this Rig Ved, it is said in that statement. Let us read that statement again. The Purush is verily all this manifested world. So how is this manifested world very much like Purush? He, or the truth of that is Purush. He is all that was the past and that will be in the future. He is the Lord of the abode of bliss and has taken this transient form of the manifested universe. How has he taken this transient form?
In the form of the jiva.
Why it is given here? To help the jivas undergo the effects of their actions. How has he taken that transient manifested universe?
Like matti has become a pot.
How has he done that? Through an illusion. Through being a basis by itself. So it is the basis, and just because it is the basis, it takes this form through Maya. Yeah, that's what's being indicated. It's not said here in this shloka because the shloka is referring to something else, but this is how this transient universe gets created. You go to 36.
Is this the first time that we are seeing a reason for the creation of this Maya world?
This reason has been given by the commentator in this book, the English book. In the Hindi or the text, it is not given, but we can assume that is the, and it will be given again later on. In this text, it will be given. Okay. So why is this Jagat?
It is not part of the flow.
Yeah.
Of the differentiation argument.
Correct.
But it's suddenly popping up as
correct.
Very significant.
Because commentator has made it a point to refer to it now, so it's no problem.
It's also the answer to the fourth question of those four questions. Upadan karan kya hai?
That is of course essentially that karan जो है वो तो यहाँ पर बता दिया उन्होंने. But saying that the purpose of creation of this universe is to allow the human beings to. That is what he's referring to. Okay. We go to 36. बृहद आरण्यक में भी पुरुष को असंग कहा गया है. बृहद आरण्यक is a उपनिषद. उसमें भी पुरुष को असंग means non-dual, not attached, असंग, non-dual कहा गया है. फिर अनंत मल से पूर्ण यह देह पुरुष कैसे हो सकता है? When Purush is supposed to be without anything attached to it, without anything in it, it is by itself, then how can this body, which is having so many things attached to it, including all the mal, which is defects and dirt, how can it be called Purush? Let's read this in English.
So also it is said in the
Brihad Aranyak
that the Purush is completely unattached. How can this body wherein innumerable impurities be the Purush? The Purush is completely unattached. This reference to the following passages, the Purush is not accompanied in the waking state by what he sees in dream, for he is completely unattached to everything.
So it is just as that if you were waking up from a dream, you would not be attached to the actions which are there happening in the dream. And you are that Purush. So the person who is there in the dream is really an illusion which you are living at this moment through our own ignorance. That is how it is understood. Yeah. Next one, please read.
There again, it is clearly stated that the Purush is self-illumined. So how can the body, which is inert, insentient, and illumined by an external agent, be the Purush?
Correct. वहीं यह भी बतलाया है कि पुरुष स्वयं प्रकाश है और यह पर प्रकाश जड़ देह पुरुष कैसे हो सकता है. जो ये देह पुरुष, ये जो देह है, ये प्रकाशित होता है, उस पे कोई हम प्रकाश डालते हैं तो प्रकाशित होता है. अदरवाइज यू कांट सी इट. In total darkness, you can't see it. You can't see your hand also in total darkness. Whereas there is nothing like total darkness. It is self-illumined. As it has been said even previously, it does not need a fire or a light to make it being seen. Okay.
So, can we take this as saying that since there is a day, so that means the Purush is there? Rather than here they are refuting that.
उसको तुम देह को पुरुष कैसे कह सकते हो? That is being refuted.
Yeah. So.
Not that it is not there.
So yeah, but since there's a day, so there has to be a Purush.
Correct. Correct.
So it is ultimately reaching that point.
Yeah, that is being said even earlier. ये जो इसमें श्लोक नंबर 29 है, अपने शरीर में पुरुष नामक सुंदर देहातीत और शास्त्र सम्मत आत्मा के रहते हुए भी तू उसको शून्य रूप क्यों कहता है? ठीक है, राइट? ओके, वी गो टू द नेक्स्ट वन. This is about the self-illumined. So we go to 38.
Moreover, the Karma Kand also declares that the Atma is different from the body and permanent, as it endures even after the fall of the body and reaps the fruits of the actions done in this life. Moreover, the Karma Kand declares, the Karma Kand is that portion of the Veda which inculcates the performance of religious acts, sacrifices, and ceremonies, laying down in detail rules and regulations for the guidance of its votaries. The followers of the Karma do not believe in an Ishwar or God. Nevertheless, they believe in a permanent individual soul, which is quite different from the body and which survives the destruction of the latter as a support of the Apurva, the abiding result of karma. So, not only the Jnan Kand, the Upanishads, but the Karma Kand also asserts that Atma is different from the body.
ज्ञान कांड और कर्म कांड दोनों में ही कहा गया है कि आत्मा अलग है शरीर से और जो कर्म है वो केवल शरीर से ही हो रहा है. हिंदी में कर्म कांड में भी आत्मा को देह से पृथक और नित्य ही बतलाया गया है. इसी से वे देहपात के अनंतर आफ्टर द डेथ ऑफ द बॉडी, देहपात के अनंतर अपने कर्मों का फल भोगता है. Even after the death of the body, he continues to enjoy the fruit of his actions or the consequences of his actions in subsequent births. That body is transforming itself into another body and continuing to bear the consequences of actions performed in previous birth.
So actions performed in this birth, can they reduce the karma from that is coming from previous births?
Yes.
Some karma.
Yes.
Not all.
Yeah. So those karmas which have come to manifest themselves. So let us say, I don't want to take a very serious example, but suppose I stand first in the university. Okay, so I have done something good in the previous and something which I've done well in terms of my studies now, and therefore the outcome has come as I'm brilliant. Right? But if there was some karma which I had done where I had hurt somebody, and that has not manifested as yet, the impact of that will not be felt in terms of what the outcome will be to an action which I'm performing just now. So, in the consequence of the, or in the sequence of things in the example I've taken, where I've stood first and I have got the gold medal. If I had hurt somebody, then I should not have got the gold medal. But that particular karma has not manifested. Something else manifested, which led me to get the gold medal. Okay. Let's take another example, and this example comes from Gita itself. I do certain yajna karma, sacrificial offerings, and I ask for heaven. मैं स्वर्ग की याचना करता हूँ, तो मैं स्वर्ग जाता हूँ, मुझे स्वर्ग मिलता है, मगर मैंने कर्म तो कुछ ऐसे भी किए हैं जो नरक वाले होते, क्योंकि वो नरक वाले कर्म जो है अभी मैनिफेस्ट नहीं करे, तो वो नरक वाले कर्म मैं स्वर्ग में जाके नहीं कर सकता, वो मुझको नरक में जाके ही करने पड़ेंगे.
So it's got delayed.
It has not manifested. When it manifests, I will bear the consequences of that.
No, so what I was saying is that suppose you've done something in your previous life, it hasn't manifested, and then you do a lot of good in this life. Can you cancel that?
No.
Yeah, there can be, for example.
So then it will never manifest, like, because you've done so much good that it's over.
ऐसा नहीं होता.
Can that happen?
Let me explain. Okay, so suppose
it will definitely manifest.
Yeah.
So suppose you are going to be, you are having the nature of being angry, and that anger gets triggered by some episode, something. Now you realize that this anger is coming. I know this is the trigger, but it is also coming from something which I am carrying. Okay, I have become aware of that. Now, how do I handle it? I handle it by observing it, by having equanimity and understanding that it is not me who is to do this. Okay, it is happening as a consequence of something else, and I should not be attached to it or engaged with it, and I can move away from it. And if I stay equanimous, then actually I dissolve that entire karma, which is leading to this particular consequence.
So there's
This is there in chapter 2 of Gita, what we have gone through. Yeah. Sorry.
so the prarabdha
Yeah.
leads to disproportionate positive or negative results
Good.
of the same effort.
Yeah.
I mean, Anil Ambani, Mukesh, born in the same family, similar education, which is part of the prarabdha, and then other part is what happens later on.
Also.
But in their previous lives, maybe they have done like good karmas, bad karmas, तो उसका फल तो उनको मिलेगा ही.
No, I'm saying exactly what
वही
I'm saying. बिल्कुल
और बुरे कर्मा भी कभी डिलीट नहीं होते. उनको अगर बहुत लाइक अच्छे काम करके पूजा पाठ ये वो उससे वो थोड़े से हल्के होकर निकल जाते हैं. मे बी
You can dissolve them
cannot dissolve them fully.
once you have.
That's why I said disproportionate.
हाँ,
दो आदमी
disproportionate.
सेम कर्मा इस जन्म
हाँ,
में कर रहे हैं,
बिल्कुल
किसी को बहुत अच्छा फल
बहुत अच्छा मिल रहा है,
बहुत
किसी को नहीं.
वो प्रारब्ध से आ
किसी
रहा
को
है.
कम मेहनत से भी सब मिल रहा है, किसी को बहुत मेहनत करके भी नहीं मिल रहा है.
Correct.
तो वो तो वही फिर इसी को प्रारब्ध कहते हैं.
Sorry, we interrupted.
So we'll take up this subject when it comes up, okay, within this text.
Yeah, but I'm sorry. Go back to what you said, which was very interesting. Continuously, what we are saying is the body and the Atma different. That's a continuity there. And suddenly, that was interesting. He said it is inserted. But why?
So what he is saying in that particular portion that the commentator has put is that the body comes into its manifestation to essentially perform karmas which are arising from previous births. ठीक है? Now let's expand on this. Okay, because so far in this text it has not been said. We have understood this in Gita. Okay, Krishna has said this already, that what is the thing? So this Jagat, we manifest ourselves in this Jagat to basically fulfill all the effects of the past karmas. So भोगने के लिए, तो यदि कुछ हमने कर्म हमारे बचे हैं पुराने, तो वो इस जन्म में आएंगे और उनको हमको उन कॉन्सिक्वेंसेस को हमको बेयर करना है, उनको हमको भोगना है, कंज्यूम करना है, उनको हमको कंप्लीट करना है, उनको हमें डिसॉल्व करना है. We may do that by having anxieties, we can have anger, we can have negative emotions, negative actions, and we can have positive actions in positive ways and all those things. Okay? But essentially, they are manifesting with this birth.
I have a very silly question where I want to take logic to ridiculous level. This birth also created, previous birth also created, previous. If I go to the nth level, the first time when everybody took birth, it started from zero. There was no prarabdha. Then how did this happen?
So we go back to again Gita, and it's given fully, chapter 6, I think it is, where he says कि धीरे 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 सब में अपनी आसक्ति, अपनी तृष्णा के कारण धीरे धीरे सब ये डिक्लाइन होता चला गया है. Okay, I only created the Surya, and then Ashvaku, and so on and so forth. The lineage came down. Manu was Ishvaku's son, and so on and so forth. At that time, there was no such. I only created that much. After that, because of our desires, Trishna cravings, we have slowly allowed all these things to happen.
Sorry,
Okay.
I forgot.
No, it's okay. We'll do many more things actually, because I'm not touching Prarabdha just now. Okay? That's why I was moving away, because there is a lot more to cover. And let's understand that when the time comes. There are some things which are being said right, some things which are being said wrong here. And we'll understand it. You have to understand it yourself. Including a statement which you must have made in the very beginning of Gita classes, which you have forgotten today. I'm talking about Rajiv in specific, okay? About Prarabdha. So we will come back to that. Okay? Ling, which is Sukshma, okay? What is it? That is that Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar is called Ling here. Dehe bhi anek tattvom ka sanghat. It is also a combination of many, many elements. It is chalayaman, moving. Drishya, it is visible. Vikari, changing. Avyapak, non-pervading. It is just limited. Asatva swarup hai. वह भी पुरुष कैसे हो सकता है? So that inner self, all the elements of the inner self cannot also be Purush. Can we read this in English, please? 39.
Even the subtle body consists of many parts and is unstable. It is also an object of perception, is changeable, limited, and non-existent by nature. So how can this be the Purush? The subtle body, etc. It consists of 17 parts, with the intellect, mind, 5 organs of perception, 5 organs of action, and 5 vital forces, or 5 subtle elements.
Right? So anything and everything which is relating to the body, the subtle body, the causal body, everything, all that is part of this thing. How can it be Purush? It cannot be Purush. It cannot be Atma. It cannot be the ultimate. It cannot be the Brahma. इस प्रकार आत्मा पुरुष या ईश्वर. You got your ईश्वर here? इस प्रकार आत्मा पुरुष या ईश्वर स्थूल सूक्ष्म दोनों प्रकार के शरीरों से भिन्न है. ठीक है? This is shloka number 40 in Hindi. I am reading. इस प्रकार आत्मा पुरुष, so आत्मा comma पुरुष, याश ईश्वर, all these three names, whatever name you want to take, स्थूल सूक्ष्म दोनों प्रकार के शरीरों से भिन्न है. अतः मैं सर्व आत्मा, सर्व रूप, अविनाशी और सबसे परे हूं. मैं सर्व आत्मा, सबका आत्मा, सर्व रूप, everybody's form, basis, अविनाशी, imperishable, और सबसे परे हूं. This is the nature of Atma. This is the nature of Gyan. Read this in English, please.
The immutable Atma, the substratum of the ego, is thus different from these two bodies and is the Purush, the Ishwar, the Lord of all, the Self of all. It is present in every form and yet transcends them all.
The immutable Atma, unchanging, it is a substratum of all, of the ego. So it is the basis, it is the one on which the ego is attaching itself. Ego and this substratum are two different things. Okay, how is it attaching? It is getting superimposed on the Atma. The ego says, I am the Atma. I am the ultimate. I am just leaving this as a thought. We'll be delving into this in greater depth. Okay. The inner self, the ego says that I am the Atma. I attach myself, superimpose myself on the Atma. In that sense, the Atma is the substratum. And it is different from the two bodies, the subtle as well as the gross body. And it is the Ishwar, Lord, Purush, Atma of all. It is present in every form and yet transcends. मतलब उससे परे हूँ, सर्वोपरि.
So the Atma referred in 38 and the Atma referred here, are they the same?
They have to be, but let me read it. And how are they same? We can understand it. कर्म कांड में भी आत्मा को देह से पृथक. So it is separate from the body.
Agreed.
Agree. नित्य, eternal. Okay. इसी से वे देहपात के अनंतर अपने कर्मों का फल भोगता है. तो जब उसका देह शांत हो जाता है, जो देह शांत हो जाता है, उसके बाद में वो अपने जब फिर से जन्म लेता है तो अपने कर्मों का फल भोगता है. कौन भोगता है?
That's the question because
हाँ.
the Atma is immutable.
हाँ.
In 40.
तो हाँ.
But here that same Atma is now.
So it is not the same Atma, obviously.
With the karma kand version.
Correct.
So they're not the same Atma.
So the body is the one which is consuming the fruits of the actions.
The body is propagating the fruits.
As well as
It
bearing
comes in
it.
the future.
As well as bearing it.
If it comes within the same body life. Otherwise,
No,
it goes
let's
to
understand.
another
No, let's understand. So there is a body. To this body, there are certain actions which has been performed and there are certain fruits which are going to accrue.
body. Accrual account.
Right? Whenever. Right? Now that has got nothing to do with the Atma. Agreed? So the fruits are going to be carried and borne by that which is the essence in the body, which is different from that which is the Atma. That essence of the body is being called Jivatma. The Atma, which is, let's say, a subtle body, which is sustaining itself and carrying the impressions of the previous.
Previous bodies.
So let's say somebody gave an example in another session that all these have got logged in the cloud. Okay, so these impressions have gone and logged themselves in the cloud, in the memory there, and they come back, and when you log in again with the new body,
You can download them.
they get downloaded.
So you can hack into it and choose what you want.
Well, the security is
I'm very happy you asked this question because this is has been very confusing. So there is Atma, there is Sharir, and there is Jivatma. The Jivatma and Sharir have one-to-one correlation.
absolutely.
And this Jivatma is the one which you're saying where the data is in the cloud, and when this computer dies and you log in the next computer, the data is
Download.
Terminal, like computer, from your
Whenever.
Data is in the cloud.
Data is in the cloud. Whenever you open the file, it will come to you.
But I thought the Jivatma and the Atma is the same.
No,
I also
no.
got that.
Yeah,
No.
I thought that.
See, thank you. Because for the last 1 year, this is not clear to me.
Yeah.
So,
But you
You've
said
never
कि एक ही
dis-
आत्मा है, कोई इतनी बिलियन आत्माएं नहीं घूम रही हैं. So are these then
So let us
जीवात्मा?
understand. We call it Jivatma. Okay, why do we call it Jivatma? Because it is that aspect of the body, okay, which is ignorant. It is arising out of ignorance. It does not know it is Atma. Okay, and it is basically led by the ego constructing itself and imposing itself on the Atma and saying, I am the Atma. And that is what we are calling as Jivatma. I purposely alluded to that Jivatma in the form of that ego in which the English version was already referring to it.
So,
Okay.
anything we said earlier, I'm sorry, I'm just rephrasing it. So, and we said earlier, anything subtle, anything associated with body, including Jivatma, is not Atma.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it has power greater than the body, than this body, because it lands up.
No, it has not got the power.
Well,
It has got
that's a term.
it has got ability to carry impressions. विकार carry जो विकार
It's an
है,
essential part of it, because otherwise the karma can't doesn't work.
yeah,
So, like mRNA is, bacteria is dead. So, this mRNA is carrying
So this is
all
called
the
Jivatma.
message to the next cell, the next bacteria.
it is that ignorant self which is carrying forward. Okay, that's all. And we don't talk about too much of Jivatma because that is not the exploration what Shastra will do. Shastra's purpose is to actually
In simple, Rajiv, in simple accounting terms.
Hmm.
It is actually
Balance
accounts.
sheet items are carried forward.
No,
The next.
no, I understand, but I want to go back
Profit and loss
to
खत्म हो गया.
but someone,
If balance sheet items carry forward over, that is the Jiva.
and the liabilities
but
have
the point is that from G, the body, now we have talked all around transcending to Atma. You yourself said we haven't talked much about Jivatma, but without understanding that, how can we transcend to
yeah.
Atma?
So Jivatma.
Can I just
1 minute.
the same example?
So 1 minute. So when we look at Jivatma, it is basically carrying the impressions of all the karmas which you have today and in the past.
तो ये जीवात्मा तो अलग अलग है ना, ये तो एक नहीं है ना.
ये तो आपकी अपनी यूनिक है.
अपनी.
So this
बस
we
यही
said
तो
one
मैं
to
कह
one.
रही हूँ.
This is with your past.
Yeah, that's
Jivatma
what
एक
I'm
body,
saying,
और आत्मा अलग है.
बिल्कुल. आत्मा एक ब्रह्मा ने एक आत्मा बना दी, उसमें से बहुत सारी जीवात्मा बन गई.
कैसे बन गई?
और वो हर
कैसे
body
कैसे
में.
कैसे बन गई?
You open subsidiaries and then
No. ये कैसे बन गई? Let's understand. कैसे बन गई? हाँ?
Because of karma.
Because of our own ignorance and our own desires. Our own desire is very specific to ourselves. We construct that world which is manifesting in front of us because of that unique desire which I have,
And I feel not
which
only
I am carrying forward because of my past impressions. Unfulfilled desire of the past is getting manifested now. The unmanifested impressions of the past are getting manifested now. The desire has the negative connotation as well as positive connotation. Okay, the word desire. That is the route by which it is creating this manifestation for you in a unique way by yourself.
It gets very easy to understand when we say कि like body and आत्मा अलग है और आत्मा या जीवात्मा जिसको अब आपने बोला तो वो जीवात्मा है और वो हर शरीर की अलग है तो then it's understood है ना और अगर एक आत्मा है और सब में है तो वही तो मैं
So understand simply that it is your ignorance.
whatever but it
No, it is not whatever. It is not whatever. If you don't understand that it is your ignorance which is carrying it forward because of your own desires, now you can call it whatever you want.
Yeah.
That is
ये
your,
कृष्णा ने भी तो यही बोला ना
this could be a word used in a particular text as Jivatma. It could be called as something else in some other text. It will be called something else in some other text. Essentially, that part of our own selves which we identify ourselves to be out of ignorance and desire is part of this body. Subtle body, causal body, this body, that body, this energy, that vibration, this vibration, all those things are part of that.
But just like Atma, is there no evidence of Jivatma also?
You know, the way.
No. Evidence of Jivatma is you. You are also the evidence of that Atma.
And I think in
One second. Hang on.
No.
You are the evidence. Just now she said that you are the evidence of that Purush.
हम उसको आत्मा ही बोलते हैं generally.
Okay.
The logic was if I exist, Brahma exists because I am the creation, so there is a creator.
Absolutely. That is the logic by which it exists.
And Jivatma,
Jivatma is your own creation.
what you perceive yourself and others as also. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Your illusion is not only for yourself, it's for even what you're viewing others as.
So since we are on this subject, so let's understand. It is out of my own ignorance I am creating whatever called Jivatma, this body. This entire body, this Jivatma, whatever you want to call it, is performing actions which are all in illusionary terms, only an illusion. If you have woken up from the dream, the actions don't exist. This body does not exist.
And Jivatma doesn't exist.
Obviously. If I have woken up from the dream, since these actions don't exist, then the next body does not exist.
And there's only the Atma. There's only.
Because I am the person who is having the dream. In the dream, if I have woken up, there is nothing happening to those karmas. There is no prarabdha. There is nothing which is going to happen in future. There is no future body either. All this prarabdha as a concept is only to explain our ignorance. Okay? And so that's why I was saying limit yourself to discussion on prarabdha, because understand that either we have to understand how to lead a life. Okay? Prarabdha is going to take care of itself. And it is arising only out of ignorance. So you work through your life to absolve yourself of this manifestation and this ignorance so that you can realize yourself.
Can I put it in my balance sheet examples? With the permission of the group. The way I'm seeing it, or perceiving it, Ashtavaku, in the beginning,
Ishvara.
had a balance sheet which had no reserves and surpluses and had no accumulated losses in the beginning. Over a period of time, subsidiaries and affiliates came up, multiple balance sheets came up, and each one of those balance sheets started accumulating either reserves or losses over a period of time. Now, if a balance sheet has to get to realization, it has to do good to remove accumulated losses, or it has to do work off the accumulated surpluses by donations, by whatever, to get to a 0-0 situation, back to what was there at the time of Ishwar. So, which then leads to realization, which enables realization. Now the process part of it is different. But in terms of
If I take this analogy further, I cannot go and change last year's valuation. So last year's accumulated profit amount which I've carried forward, I cannot change that. But I can do something in this business,
P&L period,
this P&L period, to either nullify that
or build on.
or build on. So meaning Prarabdha I cannot change. But as you said, I can
Small
do in
correction
this.
is that you have to nullify it.
Well, I can-
The reserve has to be nullified to 0,
Ah.
or the losses have to be brought to 0.
No, I
Because you
understand.
need a 0 and 0 on both sides.
I understand, but I'm saying I cannot go and change last year's balance
Correct.
sheet. So I carry forward losses which I can nullify.
So now,
Bring it to zero.
now we'll come back to the text.
Now we come back to the process.
Let's look at the text, okay? So the next section is on Dvait Mithyatva, the illusion of duality. Okay, so let's read the shloka number 41. The illusion of duality. Yeah.
Thus, the enunciation of the difference between the Atma and the body has indirectly asserted. Indeed, after the manner of the
Tark Shastra.
The reality of the phenomenal world, but what ends of human life are served thereby.
So what is being said here? The enunciation of the difference between Atma and body to aapne bata diya. Indeed, which has also been given in the Tark Shastra or the text of logic. Tark is logic. And we have also understood the reality of the phenomenal world. But how does it help? First is that you have created two things. One is Atma and second is the body. So how does it help? How does it help us to understand? This is the question which has been taken here. Why don't you read the rest of it?
Tark Shastra, the science of logic. Nyaya. What treatises? The science of logic. Nyaya. Or treatises like Sankhya and Yoga and those of the
Lok Yatikas.
Lokyatikas, which mostly follow the method of inference in arriving at their respective conclusions. Here, it specially refers to Sankhya, which with the mere help of
Tark, logic.
tries to establish the final duality of Prakriti and Purush, and in which Prakriti, or the material principle that constitutes the phenomenal world, is eternal and coexistent with Purush, the conscious principle. What ends of human life are served? There are generally four ends of human life, viz. Dharma, or performance of duty; Artha, or attainment of worldly prosperity; Kama, or satisfaction of desires; and Moksha, or final liberation from the bondage of ignorance, of which the first three are but secondary, as they are only helps to the last, which is the summum bonum. But this last one, the liberation from the bondage of ignorance, will never be attained unless a person realizes non-duality and becomes one with it, and thus removes even the last vestige of duality from the mind. But the establishment of duality is only an obstacle to such realization and drives persons away from the path of liberation. It, therefore, serves no real purpose in human life. But the object of showing the difference between Atma and the body is not to prove the reality of the body, and thus establish the duality of Atma and the body, but only to meet the opponents who hold the view that this body is Atma. It will be shown in the following stanzas that there is no such thing as body. It is Atma that alone exists.
So in terms of balance sheet, the subsidiary has to be merged back to the parent company. There's no independent ownership.
So is it that the Prarabdha
So
is
let's read
also
this in Hindi
an
also.
illusion?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. There's an algebra formula which explains this whole thing, and we got diverted because verse 38 refer to Rigved Karm Kand, which is for my mind to wrap itself around my lower level understanding. Isn't it? The formula is Brahman plus Maya, equal to Jagat.
Jagat.
So that Maya, Brahman plus Maya, Jagat ka pura hum balance sheet that exists there.
Yeah.
And the danger is what he's saying is that we can get diverted there.
Unnecessarily. Shanka. इसे दिस इज 41st श्लोक है. इस प्रकार आत्मा और देह का भेद मानने से भी, जैसे कि तर्कशास्त्र ने भी प्रतिपादन की है, प्रपंच की सत्यता तो रहती ही है. जो ये जिसकी शंका है कि प्रपंच तो रहता ही है, दिस यूनिवर्स, दिस मैनिफेस्टेशन स्टेज, इससे क्या पुरुषार्थ सिद्ध हुआ? व्हाट हैव यू अचीव्ड बाय एस्टैब्लिशिंग दिस? तो इसका समाधान बताया है. द रेजोल्यूशन इज, यहां तक आत्मा का और देह का भेद दिखलाकर देह आत्मभाव का निराकरण किया गया. देह आत्मभाव का अर्थ है कि देह में आत्मा और उसका दोनों का यूनिफिकेशन जो है, उसकी उस भाव का निराकरण, मतलब उसको अपोज किया गया है. अब देह भेद के असत्यत्व का स्पष्ट वर्णन किया जाता है. जो देह भेद है वो कैसे असत्य है, उसका हम स्पष्ट वर्णन करेंगे. दिस इज बीइंग सेड इन श्लोका नंबर 42. हाउ इज इट दैट दिस बॉडी इज फॉल्स? It is an illusion. It is not true. And therefore, जो द्वैत है, it remains as advait then, as only one. Okay, so द्वैत का मिथ्यत्व, the illusion of duality, is what we are checking out here. Please read shloka number 42 in English.
Thus the view that the body is the Atma has been denounced by the enunciation of the difference between the Atma and the body. Now is clearly stated the unreality of the difference between the two. The unreality of the difference, etc. That the body has no existence independent of the Atma, just as the waves do not exist independently of water. In fact, the Atma alone exists, and it is through ignorance that one sees it as appearing in the forms of the body and the life.
Okay, so he's already given a insight into what is going to be said subsequently, and we'll read therefore 43 in English.
No division in consciousness is admissible at any time, as it is always one and the same. Even the individuality of the jiva must be known as false, like the illusion of a snake in a rope.
So very clearly, individuality of the jiva. Jiva here is that same jivatma. Okay, must be known as false, like the delusion of snake in the rope. Let's read further, please.
It is always one and the same. The contents of consciousness may vary, but consciousness as such remains always uniform, just as the light of the sun remains the same while illuminating various objects.
What do you mean the contents of consciousness may vary?
Just like the light of the sun illuminates different objects, the light remains the same, but what it illuminates depends on what the object is. And in that sense only there is a difference. There's no other difference. The light remains same. It is very clearly stated in the next 4 words. Yeah? Don't break that sentence there, so you'll get completion there. चैतन्य एक रूप है. Consciousness is just one. अतः उसका भेद, मतलब उसका कोई ब्रेक, उसका कोई भाग, भेद किसी प्रकार उचित नहीं हो सकता. इस प्रकार जैसे रज्जु में सर्प की प्रतीति मिथ्या है, उसी तरह जीव भाव को भी मिथ्या जानना चाहिए. The perception of the snake in the rope is an illusion. In the same way, one should understand that any Jeev Bhav is also an illusion by itself. Let's read a few more shlokas because this continuity will help, if you don't mind. And we may come to some conclusion, so it will be good. Otherwise, we'll have to revisit it fully again. Yeah, 43.
44.
44, please.
As through the ignorance of the real nature of the rope, the very rope appears in an instant as a snake, so also does pure consciousness appear in the form of the phenomenal universe without undergoing any change.
So, what is to undergo any change? There is no change in the consciousness, the super consciousness. Okay, please go ahead, read.
Without undergoing any change. When a rope appears as a snake, nobody can say that any change has been wrought upon the rope. Similarly, pure consciousness appears as the so called material universe without undergoing any change whatsoever.
रज्जु के अज्ञान से जैसे एक क्षण में ही वह सर्पणी प्रतीत होने लगती है, वैसे ही साक्षात शुद्ध चिति ही विश्व रूप से भास रही है. भास रही है, it is appearing, it is being perceived in the form of the universe. Okay, so by the presence of that which is the ultimate consciousness, the superimposition of that ignorance, of the delusion which has happened at that moment, at that instant, we have perceived the snake to be in the rope. And that is how this creation has happened. प्रपंच का उपादान कारण भ्रम के अतिरिक्त और कोई नहीं है, which we had read in shloka 15. Okay. उपादान कारण, instrumental cause. प्रपंच का, this प्रपंच is this manifested universe, का कारण भ्रम के अतिरिक्त और कोई नहीं है, अतः ये संपूर्ण प्रपंच भ्रम ही है और कुछ नहीं है. What was the logic given there? ये घट का उपादान कारण मृतिका ही है, इसलिए ये घट जो है ये केवल मिट्टी ही है, मृतिका ही है. In the same way, this universe is manifested due to Brahma, and that Brahma is therefore the only thing which is. Just like that mud is in the pot, the forms are different. The forms are different. But that mud, that essence, that upadan karan, that instrument is the same Brahma. Go back to 15, shloka number 15.
And the 4 questions were.
Yeah. जैसे घट आदि का उपादान कारण मृतिका है, वैसे ही इन अज्ञान और संकल्प दोनों का उपादान एक सूक्ष्म अविनाशी सत है. अज्ञान और संकल्प क्या है? It is the cause for its manifestation. This manifestation, उन दोनों का कारण क्या है? अविनाशी सत है. So the manifestation by itself is only Brahma. We are only superimposing our own desires and our ignorance and causing an appearance or a perception of the world as what we would like to see it and what we'd like to do in it. Okay, please go ahead. Let's take another.
There exists no other material cause of this phenomenal universe except Brahman. Hence, this whole universe is but Brahman and nothing else. This whole universe is but Brahman, because the effect is never different from the cause. A pot is never different from the earth of which it is made. The names and forms that differentiate the effect from the cause are but conventional, and are found non-existent when their nature is inquired into.
Okay? I'm going to read this in Hindi. This is shloka number 45. Yeah? प्रपंच का उपादान कारण भ्रम के अतिरिक्त और कोई नहीं है, अतः संपूर्ण प्रपंच भ्रम ही है और कुछ नहीं है. शास्त्र कहता है कि सब कुछ आत्मा ही है, इसलिए जगत और भ्रम का व्याप्य व्यापक भाव मिथ्या है. What is it? The Jagat or Brahm. So, Brahm pervading everything in this universe. That sense, bhav, is also an illusion. Because, in a sense, it is not pervading everything. It is just like the rope exists by itself. It doesn't pervade the snake, as if it is there in every different snake.
The pervading implies two, whereas it's not two.
It is not two.
Yeah.
It is that itself is an illusion which we have to understand. Okay, that it is not pervading everything. It is by itself independent, which we always keep thinking that it is pervading my body and therefore I have a unique Atma. Okay. इस परम तत्व के जान लेने पर फिर भेद का अवसर ही कहाँ रहता है. How can there be a difference which can even arise once you understand this? Let's read this in English. We'll come back to it in Hindi and we'll probably discuss it again next time, because we're just trying to complete this and we'll do more discussion next time. Yeah, please.
So 46?
Yeah.
From such declaration of the Shruti, as all this is Atma, it follows that the idea of the pervading and the pervading is illusory. This supreme truth being realized, where is the room for any distinction between the cause and the effect? From such declaration, it refers to the passage, these Brahmins and Kshatriyas, these lokas, regions, gods, Vedas, and beings. In short, everything is this Atma.
Let's read the next one.
Certainly, the Shruti has directly denied manifoldness in Brahman, the non-dual cause being an established fact. How could the phenomenal universe be different from it? The Shruti has directly, etc. The Shruti passage runs as follows. After hearing from a competent teacher, one should realize with the help of a pure mind that there is no manifoldness in this Brahman, the non-dual cause being an established fact, etc. The positing of the non-dual Brahman as the final reality by the Shruti cuts at the root of all causality. For a cause always presupposes an effect which it produces and which is evidently different from it in some respect or the other. But when there is only one, how is it possible for a second thing, an effect to come into existence? The truth is that the non-dual Brahman or Atman never causes anything. It is through ignorance that one sees this world and thinks of Brahman as its cause.
Yeah. श्रुति ने स्वयं ही नानत्व का निषेध किया है. नानत्व is manyness, multiple brahmas, many aspects of Brahman. कारण के अद्वितीय होने पर भला अन्य आभास कैसे हो सकता है? कारण means the reason. The reason cannot be having a split. There cannot be two things. If there is a reason, there is a cause and an effect. Reason and effect. If there are no two things, how can there be anything which can become an effect from a reason? Reason will remain as it is. The Brahma, which is the reason for everything to come into existence, remains as it is. There is no second which can happen. मृत्यु से मृत्यु को प्राप्त होता है, ऐसा कहकर श्रुति ने नानत्व दर्शन में दोष भी बतलाया है। मनुष्य माया से ठगा जाकर ही संसार में नानत्व देखता है. This cause and effect of taking birth and getting death again, taking birth, death again, from one death to another death, he keeps on moving, is all because of this ignorance of thinking that we are two, we are different. Okay, there's only one. This illusion is what we are creating out of our own ignorance and through our own desires, which we are not dissolving. Okay, so this is what is said here. We'll just read this in English. And I'll go through these exact shlokas next time once again, okay? So that we are not losing whatever thought we may need to have to discuss it, okay? Yeah, please.
47. Certainly the Shruti has directly denied manifoldness in Brahman, the non-dual cause being an established fact. How could the phenomenal universe...
But you read this already.
Moreover, the Shruti has condemned the belief in variety in the words. The person who, being deceived by Maya, sees variety in this, Brahman, goes from death to death. Goes from death to death. That is born and dies again and again. The reference is to such Shruti texts as, he who sees variety in this, that is Brahman, passes from death to death. In other words, unless a person realizes the non-dual Atman, which is evidently without birth and death, there is no escape for him from the cycle of rebirths.
Okay. Sorry? Yeah, they are each of these sentences are very powerful, very deep. They'll take a little time to sink in also. And yeah, so we'll discuss them next time. Okay? Thank you very much for next time.